And we're live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am pumped this Wednesday. I'm going to challenge you to meet my energy level. How you doing this morning, Adam?
Hey, good morning, John. Hey, I'm doing well, man. And it's always going to be a challenge to meet your energy level this early in the morning, but I think I can do a better job at it. We're deep into 2021 now, at least a few weeks.
Nice. Yes. So in our company, instead of looking at it like week 3 in January, we're trying the 12-week year thing, where every quarter basically is a different year. So we are calling it week March this week, and we're crushing it, dude. I had a great morning at the gym, and then I'm supposed to do donuts with Dad every Wednesday, and I've been getting cake pops for my kids, but Starbucks was closed this morning at 7 o'clock. When I got done with my workout, Starbucks was closed. So I'm a little late to this meeting because I told the kids, hey, we're just going to have to do donuts tomorrow. And Carson, my 8-year-old, was like, I don't want to wait till tomorrow. You should make us fancy cinnamon buns right now. And he put me in a position where I had no choice. But how's your morning going, man?
Hey, it's going good, man. It's going good.
Okay, so we are talking about sales. Why get into sales? Is sales a naughty 4-letter word? How do you prevent burnout? We're going to spend 10 or 15 minutes. If you've got questions, please put them down. If you like these videos, please crush, smash, do whatever to that like button so lots of people can hear us. But Adam, I think you got the first question, so hit me with it, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, first question is, you kind of laid it out in the title, but why did you pick sales? Out of all the career paths out there, I'd like to think, real estate starts with the sale. So why sales?
Yeah, it's weird. What is the difference between management and sales, leadership and management and sales and persuasion and negotiations? I think there's a lot of crossover between all that stuff. But for me, I think I've always been good with people, and I've always enjoyed that. Like I never enjoyed sitting in a classroom in learning, but the idea of learning with other people and trying to persuade people to come to my side and having challenging conversations with people has always been something that's been a lot of fun for me. It took me a lot of years to realize that my skill set's probably best in sales, right? Like I tried a lot of different things to realize, like, actually what I'm looking for is probably to be in a sales organization. So it took me a long time to get here, but I think the big thing for me is just my skill set. My natural skill set is to work with people. And although leadership can do that as well, I think sales and maybe leadership within a sales organization is really kind of what my skill set is. And also, as I think of things I'm curious about in areas where I want to grow, I think it's right in line with that. But what about you, Adam? Why sales?
Yeah, man, that's great. And I know you do a good job at kind of leading the company and so forth. So I can definitely see your thought process there. For me personally, I started back in high school as a 4-sport athlete and so forth, and I've always had.
I'm interrupting. 4 sports. What were your 4 sports?
Yeah, so it was track, soccer, and wrestling. So what? 3 sports?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 3 sports, right?
Nice.
I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. And I was never really good at any of them. I only did track just to stay in physical shape for all the other sports I was in. But outside of that, I always had that competitive mindset, and I felt like that carried myself even into the Army. So for those of you that don't know, I'm still active duty in the Army. And when I was a young private, I did the Warfighter Challenge, which is essentially it's the best MP teams from around the world. We get together at one location, and it's a 3-day event where they just suck everything out of you as far as energy goes. And so there was that aspect, and I've always been a competitor. And I think in sales, to wrap this all around, I like the scoreboard effect. I like that. I know, for our company, it's three deals per week, a deal per day. That's where I want to get. And knowing that makes me feel really good. I'm able to compete with myself as far as that goes. But then there's that other side of sales where you actually believe in the product. And again, for those that don't know, I'm an active duty recruiter as well. And so there's definitely that sales aspect there, and believing in the product. I'm trying to get other young men and women to serve in the United States Army, just like I did for the past 15 years. Same thing with wholesaling. Like, I really do believe in the product that, us as Gray Line can provide people, and working through the issues and stuff that they have at hand. So that's why I'm in sales. I really just love the scoreboard though. I'm a big competitor, sometimes a little bit too hard on myself when it comes to that, but yeah, I'm a competitor.
So I like it as well, right? Like, I grew up an athlete and played football, and love the scoreboard aspect of it. In wholesaling, especially us, we invest virtually all over the country. Who's the other team, right? Like, if you reference the scoreboard, who are we competing against? How do you think about that?
Yeah, man, it's tough. When I first started doing this, I would watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, Keith and Nick Perry. And I would always say to myself, oh, we got to, they just had a 500K month. We got to have a 500K month. And I would get down on myself if we weren't even close. And I had to keep reminding myself, and to this day, I still have to, that we're not at that level. That took them years to get there. And, we're just, eclipsing on a year, I think, as a Gray Line, as a company. So it's tough not to compare yourself to other wholesalers out there. Our team may not be nearly as big as some of the other guys. And then there's that aspect out there. Not everybody's showing you all the numbers. They're not showing you the dirty numbers, how much they spend on marketing compared to how much they make and so forth. So it's important for me to really compete with myself and Gray Line expectations.
Gotcha. So we've kind of seen like exponential growth, right? In our company, we started and it was like, hey, we got a deal. We were celebrating everything, and while we still try to celebrate all the small wins, the expectations we put on ourselves, I think, continues to grow day in and day out. So how do you celebrate, but then also kind of raise the bar?
Yeah, man. Well, it's in our company, we're virtually too. So that's another, if I was to look at sales teams and the traditional sales team, it's, a big warehouse, 100 cubicles, everybody's yelling on the phone and so forth, probably trying to sell penny stocks and so forth. But so in that aspect, it's actually hard to stay motivated and to actually enjoy the small wins. I would say our team, being virtually, we do a really good job at it though, and trying to capture as much as that as possible. We use Slack as like a communication tool, and we're always posting it. When I get a deal, I post it in there. We get notifications in our CRM tracker that goes to all our phones when we get a signed contract. So that's some of the ways, I enjoy the small wins in our company. But yeah, it's actually tough because, like I said, in most sales-based organizations, you get to see everybody on the floor. They're yelling. I know people on Instagram Live and stuff, they hit gongs and stuff. Like, could definitely get crazy with some of your sales wins and so forth. But yeah, that's how we do it virtually. There's a lot of things that we have to do virtually and try to meet the needs like we were if we were in person. But what do you think, John? I mean, getting these small wins. We're a virtual wholesale company, and the challenge is there.
I think competitive people have a hard time celebrating wins overall, right? Whether it's sports or sales, it's really easy to just keep grinding, right? And be like, I'll celebrate when I get to the top. And then you get to the top and you realize like, this isn't the top. So let me climb again. Right? And I'm not great at it, right? I tend to be a workaholic and not celebrate the wins like I should. I think what I'm trying to improve on and trying to, I think we're both trying to develop a culture within our organization where we do celebrate the wins. We celebrate every deal we get under contract. We make sure at the end of each week, we celebrate when we hit our goals. Before we reassess to get to the next level, we say, hey, we did it, right? Like we made that, right? And then I think financially, as we look at incentives, we try to make sure that we acknowledge when we hit those goals and when financial incentives, should be paid out, right? When the company is doing awesome, that stuff should be a reward as well. But what happens when you do start getting burnout, right? Like whether it's sales or real estate investing overall, like when you start getting burnt out, how do you handle that, Adam?
Yeah, man. When we first started, to be honest, like it was more like adrenaline, like, hey, it's a new company. And I always try to put all my effort into everything I do. And when we first started out, it was easy to stay up until like 1 o'clock in the morning, still listening to the podcast, watching YouTube videos, trying to get spun up on the wholesale world. But I quickly realized like you're not going to be able to be that closer the next day and perform at the same level that you should be if you did just get 8 hours of rest. So really at this moment, I'm really trying to focus on my sleep and get to bed at an earlier time. I try to turn off Slack now. I stay away from a lot of the hobbies that used to draw me into the wee hours of the morning. Mm-hmm. During the work days. So really to avoid burnout, it's get more sleep for me, and then just know like when you're getting burnt out. I know there was a few times where I had called Carlo, and I even consider burnout like not finding a deal, because that can weigh on you as acquisitions, right? It's your job to find a deal. You can't find one, and you could get discouraged, and that alone will definitely burn you out. So I would just call him and kind of like be a sounding board. Again, we're not in a big office or anything, so FaceTime, Zoom, or a phone call had to do. And just, he would give me the peace of mind, like, no, man, I'm having a hard time too, or, hey, you're talented here, I wouldn't give up. So it's really what it comes down to, though. For me, it's been getting a lot of rest, and then just know when you need time off. Like, again, when the company first started, I think it was a few months before legitimately we took a day off, and to include weekends, like they weren't there either. We were training our VAs at the time, our lead specialist, and we didn't really have time off.
Nice. I remember when you took that vacation to Michigan. I'm getting some feedback now. I don't know if it's going through. But I remember when you took that vacation to Michigan, I think you were a little burnout. And then when you came back from that vacation, I think you were able to unplug some in that vacation. You came back and not only were refreshed, but I think it was also an idea of like, I do need to take a break once in a while. So I think that was good. Question. Last time we talked about sleep, I was like, dude, you are failing the sleep test. So what did you used to get, and what are you getting these days?
Yeah,
Please tell me it's better.
Yeah, no, I try to get 6 to 8 hours now. For the longest time, I've been wired pretty much my entire life. So prior to becoming a recruiter, I was an MP. So we worked like night shift, all goofy hours. Didn't get much sleep there. But I really just had to remind myself, dude, you're 34 years old. Like, you can't be playing video games until the wee hours of the morning. I haven't been able to do that, for a few years now. But I really just had to stay off the hobbies that kept me up that late and were really detrimental to my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Now I try to get, again, 6 to 8 hours. Before, though, there was some nights I'd get like 3 hours of sleep. I was
Crazy.
averaging like 4 to 5, which is still not healthy, obviously. But yeah, a couple months ago, like when I was averaging that, like I used to tell myself, like, I can operate off of 4 hours of sleep. And as long as I have 4 hours of sleep, I can do my job. And that's true. Like, I can do it, just not the best of my ability. But what about you, man? Like, I know you've always emphasized the importance of sleep. What does your sleep routine look like?
Yeah. So on a bad night, I get 6 hours, right? Like that's like my cutoff. I wake up at 5 in the morning. So on a bad night, I'm going to sleep at like 10:30 or so, right? So what would that be? 6.5, right? So 6.5 is like my minimum. Ideally, it's 8, which is hard to do. But ideally, I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. And then I'm a big fan of working out every morning too. So I wake up early. I hate waking up early. I hate working out in the morning. But I know the only way I'm going to get my workout in is if I work out early in the morning. So I love waking up early to get the workout in, work out hard. I think it kind of sets the tone for the day. And then to your point about like those hobbies, I get asked a lot, like, hey, how do you keep up with your Army job? How do you do it with a family and 4 kids? How do you do all this? And it's a struggle. Like, I don't have a perfect solution, but one thing I would tell people is similar to you. Like, I have no other hobbies, right? Like, the only thing I do in my life is I work really hard in my Army job. I work really hard in real estate investing. And then I try to be the best dad and husband I can be day in and day out. But like, I love watching football. I've watched Army football games this year, and that's it. I haven't watched one game outside of Army football games. I love all kinds of, other hobbies. I don't do any of that stuff because my schedule is such right now where it just doesn't allow it. So I really try hard to prioritize, like, hey, family, Army, and then real estate. So.
Yeah, man. No, I like it, like really focus on the things that you are passionate about and things that will benefit you versus the white noise. And, when you get done binging, football all day Sunday, will you really feel accomplished? Or, will you say like, oh shit, like I got 6 more hours of actual work to do because I didn't put any time into the things I was passionate about.
Okay, so let's final question here. Okay, if someone is in a sales organization, whether it's a recruiting organization within the Army, right, or they're a civilian doing sales. Let's say they're in their first year of sales, so they're still trying to get their feet underneath them. They're ebbing and flowing with ups and downs of, hey, this is awesome, it's going well. Like, oh, I'm not doing well this month. I feel burnt out. Like, how do I manage my time? If you had to give just a couple pieces of advice for someone really trying to get their feet underneath them in a sales organization, what are some big pieces of advice you'd give them, Adam?
Yeah, the biggest would be, and I know it's going against a lot of my competitive nature, but would be not to compare yourself to other people in the organization or outside the organization. It's good to have them as mentors or to know where they're at, but it's also important to not compare yourself to that level yet. You're brand new. So I would definitely use that as a big piece of advice there, is just don't compare yourself. And then outside of that, I would say like study everything, right? Like get on YouTube University, listen to podcasts, become an expert in really try to master that craft that you're in, which is sales. And then, we talked about burnout in my vacation in Michigan. I've noticed like it's important to actually schedule these vacations. I haven't told you, John, but I plan on going to Aruba this summer with the family and my mother-in-law and that side of the family as well. So I think it's important to like put these on the calendar, schedule them. You feel good about working towards that, and that'll also keep you going. But that's my advice, really. It's just, but I can't stress that enough. Like, don't compare yourself to others. What do you think, John? I know that was the last question, but if you had to give some advice to new salesmen.
Be an expert on your product, whatever you're trying to sell. You can't be too much of an expert, right? So you got to learn the product over and over and over and over and over again, and realize as a professional sales or as a sales professional, you need to manage your funnel. So many people, if you think about a funnel in sales, like initial conversations being at the top, like deeper conversations being in the middle, and a signed contract at the bottom, a lot of people have a hard time visualizing that funnel and working leads through that funnel. So I think you have to stay organized, and then you have to have a strategy for moving people through that funnel, because the initial conversation to like, hey, do you ever want to talk about this product, is going to be a lot different than like, okay, here's the paper to sign, right? And going from those different levels in the funnel can be really overwhelming to people. And I think that can go to burnout. So I think, making sure you manage your funnel as a sales professional, mastering or becoming an expert at your craft. And then I think everyone's gonna compare themselves to each other. That's kind of the nature of it. But try your best to play the long game. I hate the word be patient, because I'm not a very patient person, and I always push against that. But I can understand play the long game, right? Like play the long game. What you invest today into your knowledge, into building your systems, is going to pay dividends on the back end. So I think the long game. But all right, Adam, what are your final words to take us off here, brother?
Hey, have a great Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Get those juicy signed contracts.
All right. Thanks, Adam. As always, not as always, but as of 2 videos ago, we got our scroll at the bottom. If you want to get on our email list, check out graylineinvestments.com, put in your info so you can get on our cash buyers list. Thanks for watching.